To comment during the Frankly Speaking show, you first need to open the video that is being streamed live. Look for the chat box on the side or bottom of the video player. This is where you can type your message. Click inside the chat box and use your keyboard to type out what you want to say. You can type words, use emojis, or even ask questions. Once you've typed your message, press the enter key on your keyboard or click the send button.
Good day. Good day. Frankly speaking, who gives a school to a country? A school up to the secondary level with state-of-the-art facilities and a commitment for transportation, breakfast, lunch, and supplies to students from underserved communities who attend that gift school. That's our main story today, frankly speaking. Then we're going to take you to a special celebration held last week Sunday for journalist Lloyd B. Smith, aka the governor. Lloyd B. is used to being the analyst, but now he's in front of the camera, frankly speaking. Thank you all for joining us for the 187th episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica Podcast. With me today are Desmond Richards and Winnie Anderson Brown. We welcome your comments and queries during the program. Just use the procedure outlined at the top of the show or go to the comment section of the YouTube channel and make them. You may also send WhatsApp text messages, comments, to 876-503-9995. That's 876-503-9995. Earlier this month, a big event which escaped the notice of several people took place in Spanish Town. A high school, to complete a larger complex, a high school was given to Jamaica by Crystal House, not a well-known charity in Jamaica. It was the completion or the larger portion of a school after they opened the kindergarten and primary section in Spanish Town a few years ago. We have with us today co-founder of Crystal House, Sally Porteous, a well-known socialite and former politician, retired Custis of Manchester, and Jason Scott, executive principal of Crystal House. Welcome to you both. A little later, we will speak with the CEO of Crystal House. Now, is Ms. Porteous with us? Because if she's not with us, then we'll just have to ask Mr. Jason Scott to take us first. First thing we want to know from you, Mr. Scott, what is the school that was handed over last week? What was handed over two weeks ago? What was really handed over 2 weeks ago? And welcome to you. We're not seeing Sally Porteous, but we expect to see her. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
Yes, Franklin. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Just want to greet Winnie and Desmond as well. It's really my pleasure. Looking forward to having our co-founder, this is the Honorable Sally Porteous, joining us. But as you would have indicated in your intro, a gift was presented to Jamaica, right? So this is the Crystal House we're talking about. So we had our grand opening of the high school section of Crystal House Jamaica. So Crystal House Jamaica, founded in 2020, would have started, as you indicated, with our kindergarten sections and the primary sections, because it's a school that grows organically. So we started from kinder to grade 2, and we would have grown 1 grade per year. And now we're into that phase where we're moving into the high school, because the model of Crystal House is a K through 13. So we take the students from kindergarten to, in Jamaica, our traditional upper sixth form. So students would move through the grades from the last grade of kindergarten, K3, and take them right through to the end of their high school life. Interestingly, too, as a Crystal House model, after a student leaves our high school, the school follows that child for the next 5 years, ensuring that that child matriculates into a college program, or they are employed into the workforce, being contributors to the society. So, frankly speaking, our high school is what was opened just recently, and we had that ceremony attended by officials of the Ministry of Education, officials from Crystal House International, and all of the persons who are on the ground, to include myself and our CEO and co-founder, Honorable Sally Porteous.
Well, Mr. Scott, we're going to have to ask you to answer a lot of the questions which we wanted to ask Sally Portions, because she's more on that side and the co-founder.
Sure.
And you, so we're sort of like going a little bit backward. But this school is free of cost to everybody child who is attending it. And you give them lunch, you give them breakfast, you provide transportation. Is that true?
Yes, Franklin. So Crystal House is a not-for-profit, tuition-free institution that aim is to provide or to remove the barriers that would prevent a child from accessing education the correct way. And that includes, as you pointed out, ensuring that there are no fees attached. They get the uniforms they're supposed to get. They get the supplies that they're supposed to get. Um, Books, supplies, transportation, and then the wraparound services of social services and rigorous academics.
Oh, all right. Sally Portius is here, so let me welcome her and turn the question. So Mr. Scott has been doing very well for you, Ms. Portius. We welcome you. Just tell us a little bit, if you will, about Crystal House. And sorry, we have with us Desmond Richards and Winnie Anderson Brown. So please go ahead, Ms. Portius, and tell us a little bit about Crystal House, because we want to know, why are you all doing this, and what is Crystal House?
Well, thank you very much for welcoming me, and I apologize, I'm not very techy, but I'm on, so thank you so much for having me. Let me just say very quickly, Crystal House came about through a friendship that I formed with Crystal Dehan, who is the founder of Crystal House. I met Crystal in 1995. At that time, her company came to Jamaica to shoot a commercial, and I was in the film industry, and I was a production manager on that particular commercial. So we shot the commercial in Ocho Rios and then went back up to Indianapolis to finish it off. And at that time, I met Crystal, and we became good friends. I liked Crystal because she was extremely interested in Jamaica. And a lot of people, know about Jamaica. They know about our beautiful hotels and our lovely beaches and so forth. But they don't really know about the real Jamaica. They don't know about the problems that many people face, particularly persons who come from areas that are deemed to be in the impoverished areas of Jamaica, how they struggle to send their children to school, what it costs them, the daily stresses and strains of persons who go through this every day. So when I returned to Jamaica, and she sold her company a year later, I was absolutely amazed and flabbergasted to see that she was putting her funds into assisting countries that needed help with schooling their children. And she took a lot of time to study what the stresses and strains were on people, mothers in particular. So what she did was she found out that transportation was a difficulty in many countries for parents to either be able to afford transportation or for their children to go on what would be deemed to be safe and secure transportation. The children often arrived at school and were very tired because they came from communities where there is strife. And we certainly have that in Jamaica and many of our communities, unfortunately, where there's conflict and gunfire and people warring and quarreling and this one not talking to that one, etc., etc. So she provided meals for the children, and she provided everything that that child needed to take the stress off of the parent. So the uniforms, the books, the teaching staff, the look of the school was very important to her. She wanted children to be able to aspire to something that was beautiful, something that must be kept at a very high standard. So you will never find garbage around Crystal House, Jamaica. I'm not saying other schools do. I'm saying we're very strict about it. You won't find marks on the wall. Everything, garbage, beautifully kept. We want to elevate them and make them feel that there's a different world that they can enter if they get well educated. So, as I say, I heard that
So, Ms. Portia said, I've just got to ask you, and my colleagues will jump in at any time, but I've just got to ask you, why would she be doing this for Jamaica? There's an American, she's doing this for Jamaica, and where does the money come from, for example, to do all of these things that makes this really a model school?
Yes. Well, first of all, she's not American. She's German.
She's German.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
America in 1962, I think. She was born in 42. And she went to Mexico on holiday and went through some areas in Mexico that were very impoverished. And spoke to the driver, and the driver said to her, you know, these children, they don't go to school. They can't afford to go to school. So she said, excuse me, okay, I'll build one. So the first school was built in Mexico. The second school was built, I believe, in South Africa, and then India, Indianapolis. So by the time I heard what she was doing, she had already put up 3 or 4 schools. And when I learned what the schools provided, I knew that this was the right thing for Jamaica. And so I called her and asked her if she would consider putting the next school in Jamaica.
So where did the money come from? Where is the money coming from? Because we're hearing that you're even following them after school. Where is the money coming from to do all of this?
When she formed a foundation, and you have to understand, she was exceptionally successful in her business. Herself and her husband started a company called RCI, which was a timeshare company, and she became a multi-millionaire. So when she retired, she decided that she would form a foundation and that she would put her funds into this foundation for education.
My question.
Go ahead, Winnie.
Yes, the question that jumps out at me: why Spanish Town? Because I always associate Sally with Manchester.
Well, you're right. And I did try. I brought her up to Manchester, but the truth of the matter is that we don't have in Manchester, fortunately, the level of poverty that Spanish Town has. And we actually got to Spanish Town after I took her and introduced her to the Prime Minister, who said, I would be very happy if you would consider Spanish Town. Spanish Town has a lot of problems, a lot of unemployment, a lot of crime, a lot of gangs, a lot of unemployed youth. And he said, if you could think about Spanish Town, I'd be very, very happy. So we went to Spanish Town. But remember, we'd done Kingston, Montego Bay, Manchester.
Clarendon?
We didn't go to Clarendon.
I know.
And then once we went to Spanish Town and she saw the conditions of Spanish Town, she said, this is where we're going to put it.
Mr. Scott, can you tell us a little bit about what's been happening so far at the schools? As you started with the K and primary. What's been happening at that level?
Yes, Franklin. So we would have started, as you said, from K to grade two. So what you would have found, just piggybacking on what Mrs. Porteous has been sharing, is that we would have been taking in a particular group of students. When persons ask us, who do we take in? Eligibility is based on, as we know in Jamaica, we know path, program of advancement through education, health and education. So generally, there's a criteria for persons to be on path. So when students meet that criteria, they become eligible for Crystal House's help and support. So when we take in that population, what we would have found is that for many of these students, they would have been irregular in their attendance at school. So you find that for a lot of them too, their performance was not at the level that it's supposed to be. Let me give you a prime example. Back in 2021, we would have done our reading inventory and found that only 7% of our students were reading at and above their grade level. So between
7%, less
7%,
than 1 out of every 10.
yes, was reading at their grade level or above. And between that time and last year, 2024, when we did the test again, we would have moved that from 7% up to 54% of our students reading at and above. And we're looking forward this year to what the data will tell us. So it would have showed that we would have been growing leaps and bounds in the area of literacy, reading, and even across the board when we talk about stability in school. Because one data set that we're very proud of is our student attendance rate. Because anybody in education know that if we're going to be teaching students, they have to be present at school. And we would have, between 2020 and now, solidly maintained an above 90% student attendance rate at school. What contributes significantly to this is the fact that we transport them to and from school. So with having them in school, another additional piece of the Crystal House magic is that we have them in school for a longer period of time. So while the ministry goes by a minimum of 190 days, the Crystal House model ensures that we exceed that. So what we do, we have a minimum of 200 days that we do. So our students return to school before the end of August in order for us to capitalize on those days. And they also spend a little bit more time on the timetable in school on a daily basis. So outside of extracurricular activities or extra lessons, our school day is just a bit longer, giving us more time with the students. And we try as best as possible to ensure that engagement is clear. So three things come out of that right away. Our students, when you say what has been happening, our students are present at school. Two, our teachers are working assiduously to ensure students, our teachers, and our social services department, ensuring that our students are getting what they need. And then our students have been showing us, we have been reaping the rewards when we look at the data surrounding their performance, whether internally or in external examinations.
Did you say your social services department before
Yes.
Desmond comes in?
And I can
tell us about that. What is that?
Yes. Right. So the Crystal House model, and why I speak of the Crystal House model, as Mrs. Porteous would have shared, Crystal House is not just in Jamaica. Our school in Jamaica is one of 9 Crystal House schools located in 5 different countries worldwide. And what the global brand does is have a particular model for which we try to be in line as best as possible, using in-country standards as well. But also there are some things that are non-negotiables. And one of them is having a social services department. So in our social services department, we have a head of social services. We have a guidance counselor. We have a social worker who goes out into the communities and work with the parents. And we have a nurse. So when we put these persons together, this team helps to provide that wraparound service for our students. ensuring that their medical and their psychosocial needs are taken care of.
Desmond, you were asking a question?
Mr. Scott, what is the size of the class in the Crystal House model? How many students are per class?
All right, so for the general class size would be, for each class, it's 30 students from grade 1 to grade 7. 30 students in each class that has a classroom teacher, and the grades are supported by teacher assistants. In the kindergarten department, each class consists of 20 students, and each class has a teacher and a teacher assistant.
Okay.
So I wanted to find out who employs those teachers. Is it your school or is the Ministry of Education? Who pays the teachers?
So Ministry of Education does not pay our teachers. Ministry of Education is one of our partners, and I'm sure Mrs. Porteous will expound a little bit on that relationship that we have with the government. But in terms of payment to the teachers, Crystal House takes care of the payment of the teaching staff.
Well, there's a lot of money being spent there, man. Ms. Porteous, can you tell us about the relationship with the government?
Well, let me say, the government has been very, very supportive. And one of the things that they did right from the word go was to let us have 10 acres, 10.4 acres of land at a peppercorn rental, lease rather. We have a 99-year lease on the property where we are. And they also give us a subvention of 50% of the students in the primary school, and they will do the same thing in the high school.
Sorry, I didn't hear that well. A subvention of 50%
of students in the primary school, and they will also do so in high school, which also assists us to pay for things like food and transportation and so forth. But you know, Franklin, we do fundraise. It's not a question that all the funds comes from Indianapolis. We have a fundraising manager and marketing manager, and our CEO also, and myself. We do tap on doors and try to encourage people to assist us as best as possible, because, as you've just said, it's an extremely expensive affair. But I believe that it is something which is going to reap incredible rewards for Spanish Town and for Jamaica.
But you have a very good grasp, and colleagues in the committee when you want to. You have a very good grasp of Jamaica and Jamaican social political situation, Ms. Portia. This school, we're not going to be able to replicate it across Jamaica even with government assistance. Do you see that possible? Mr. Scott has told us about the significant improvements in students' attainment because of what is there. But do you see it possible for Jamaica to replicate that right across the system, and shouldn't that be what we are aiming for?
Well, you know, Franklin, I don't think that everything would be done at one time, but certainly certain things have already started. If you look at the transportation, the rural bus system that the government has put in, I wonder how many people really understand how important it is for a child and a parent when that child can get on transportation, which is only dedicated to children. No other adult can get onto that bus. Your child is safe and is taken from point A to point B, and from point B back to point A. That's such a huge relief to a parent. It's just extraordinary. Now, can the government afford to provide meals for all the children in Jamaica? Perhaps they can't afford to do that right now, but I hear already that there is a program starting to give them breakfast. I hear already that there is a program to give them good nourishment. Let me say this. Our children are not allowed to bring anything into the school to eat or drink. You have to eat what we provide for you. And those menus are very carefully done by experts to make sure is to have the right nourishment. Our children are not allowed to run outside the school gate at any time. They can't go outside and buy, cheese tricks and
Back juice and so on.
they just can't. And I think we have to control these things because I was quite horrified to hear the other day the percentage. Of course, I don't remember right now, but there's a large percentage of our children that are obese at a very early age, which means they're going to get sick. We can't have children getting sick because they're obese. So we have to control it. And that's what we do at Crystal House.
Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, in terms of, are you there?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes. In terms of the activities outside of the straight academics, well, what are you doing at the high school level that you have now opened? You have now opened the high school. I think you started in August or late August. What's done at the high school level? And I have a question here asking about special needs students.
Okay, all right. So I'll take the first one. At the high school level, so what our focus, and we hear this term being thrown around a lot, STEM. Our focus at the high school level is to take a STEM approach to what we are offering. And we put the A in its STEAM to show that the arts, so science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics is our focus. So you would find that at Crystal House at the high school level now at grade 7, we would have introduced coding and robotics. That is not necessarily always offered in our high school system. And we have integrated that with the other subject areas that students would focus on. In terms of special needs, so while Crystal House provides an inclusive model, we are not a special needs school. And a part of it has to do with, surrounding what we have been discussing so far around the whole aspect of finances. Because in order to offer special needs education at the type of level that we want to offer Crystal House students, it is going to take a significantly large budget to manage that. So we are taking on what we can manage at this time, and special needs education is not necessarily a part of it, but we do have a campus that is inclusive enough to accommodate students if, for example, they are to have any type of physical disability while attending the school. So the school is built for that. Wanted to tap on one thing before we even jump, just to add to what Mrs. Porteous was saying when we spoke about replicability. I believe, I'm just pitching in my piece on this, that it is can be replicated in our country, because the reality of it is that Crystal House is a gift to a country. And if we nurture a gift, we can get the best out of it. So this is why we speak about public-private partnerships. So when I spoke about the model earlier, the sustainability part of the Crystal House model is that in all countries that it's located, there has to be public-private partnership, donors who come on board to keep this thing going. And it is possible because in our countries, like for example, India, they're onto their third school now. So they are replicating this model because the government supports them, the private sector supports them, and public sector agencies also support to really help and fund the type of structure to keep something like a Crystal House going.
Mr. Scott, what is the school population?
So right now, our school population is 477 students. So our capacity at present is 480, and we are at 477 students as we speak.
And you only take students from around St. Catherine, Spanish Town area, around that area. That's where all your students come from?
So we have the students within an 8-mile radius of the school. And this also assists, when we say 8 miles, within the 8-mile radius, it helps us with the transportation piece.
Yeah.
Because our students can get there on time and we get them home on time. So we work right around. So Crystal House itself is located in Twickenham Park. 8 miles around us, you can go as far in Portmore as Gregory Park. you can head the other direction, Spanish Town proper, and you go all the way out to McCook's Pen. So all of these places, Tars Meadows, etc. And then Central Village, which is closest to us, out to Ferry, would form our 8-mile radius for which we take our students.
How do you engage parents at that school? How do you engage parents?
That's also a big part of our program, because our parents are one of our key stakeholders. Because if we're going to improve the conditions of our students, the parents have to be a part of that. So we are also proud when we think about our successes. Last year, we were able to offer, in partnership with Heart, level 1 and 2 courses in customer service for some of our parents. We also engage our parents because they have 48 hours of voluntary service that they give back to the school as a part of the partnership model for the students keeping their scholarship. So parents, if you visit Crystal House on any given day, you will see parents in our space helping with the maintenance of the plant. So Mrs. Porter spoke about it being a garbage free, clean space, because our parents are part of the body that helps us to maintain this property. So it's a full-on engagement with our parents, and we go as far as to have our active PTA, which is a big part of what we're proud of too. And our PTA attendance is around about 95 to 100% each time we call them out. So they are a key stakeholder group, and we engage them throughout the school year.
So you say parents do community work at the school as part of the engagement?
Yes, voluntary. They give back 48 hours of service to the school as a part of the scholarship agreement, because essentially we remove the word free from a Crystal House and say our students are actually on scholarships, right? So the offerings we give them, it would be part of the scholarship package. And in order to maintain this scholarship, there are certain stipulations by which our parents and our students have to adhere to. In terms of our students have to maintain a certain behavior, they have to maintain a certain level of academic performance, and our parents have to engage the school in a particular way to include the 48 hours of service time back to the school.
And how is discipline at the school? Sorry, Winnie, you're right after.
Okay, discipline. All right. So for us, like all schools, it is a work in progress. But we are pleased that we can announce that when we talk about, when we look at what happens in the general school environment, we don't have the levels of school fights and stuff like that to report. We do have some children with behavioral challenges, but we do have a discipline response plan that we work with, and we continue to tailor, and our staff continues to work with it, and our social services team, to ensure that we deal with it in that particular way. Because in our promo, we speak heavily about trauma-informed care. Because based off what our children face, we know that we will face some amount of backlash when we talk about them coming into environments facing the issues they face. So we have to support them at a particular way. But we hold a high standard when it comes to student discipline. And it's something that we continue to work on, continue to refine. And I have seen significant growth in the 4 years I've been there when we talk about student discipline in general.
Winnie, you were asking?
Just clarify something for me. Did Mrs. Porter say that the government finance 50% of its expenditure?
Could you ask that again, Desmond, please?
No, the government finance 50% of the school's expenditure?
All right. So the government provides 50% of our programs and services expenditure, because there's another expenditure on the school, which will be our management and general, that's taken care of by Crystal House. So when we say 50%, we have to be careful and not say we're taking care of 50% of our annual expenses, but it's 50% of our programs and services expense relating directly to the children.
Okay. But the 100% salary is paid by Crystal House.
By Crystal House, yes.
Okay.
Okay, first
Winnie,
I must
go ahead,
really,
Winnie.
yes, first I must really commend Mrs. Porteous for this endeavor. It is something that is laudable, and I honor you for that. And a question that I didn't ask was answered, Mr. Scott, and that is this whole freeness mentality. How do you get around that? Because when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. So you explained how you get rid of that. So you answered that question
I could add something to that
that
too,
they have a stake in it. Yes. Yes.
Yes, you're right. Winnie, I was
Yes,
about to
Mr.
add to
Scott.
that. We know that that is something that is a part of our culture, and I've heard that statement before to say, what is free no good, So we definitely, so it's a state of mind, and it's a constant work to let our parent body and our student body understand that nothing offered to Crystal House from Crystal House to them is actually free, right? Somebody is bearing the cost of this. Whether be it the
Yes.
donor, be it a donor, be it the government, but somebody is bearing this cost, and it is your
Yes.
responsibility to really nurture and shepherd and make the best use of this. So it is a
Yes.
Well,
constant conversation from our academic admin and of our admin staff, even to our staff, because
Yes.
while we offer these things to our students, we offer as well to our staff the kind of resources that are not readily available in all schools. We would want it to be available in all our schools, but Crystal House gives the opportunity for persons to have certain resources. And everybody, so it's a conversation, even myself as principal have to be aware of from time to time, is that we don't take it for granted that
Right.
we have access to the resources necessary for making this work
but
work.
people, Mr. Scott, people who say what is free is not good are making a very serious mistake because we don't pay for oxygen.
Exactly, Desmond. I agree with that 100%.
Mm.
We're coming to the end of this segment of the program because we have other parts coming up, and we're going to focus on Lloyd B. Smith's 50th anniversary in a while. But I just wanted to ask Ms. Portius, what do you, how would, tell me how you would respond to somebody who says, why can't we just do this for ourselves? Why we have to depend on foreign people and foreign overseas funding to have this first class, first world model school? Why can't we do these things ourselves?
Well, I don't think it's a question that we can't do it ourselves. We can do it ourselves. But I mean, what you're talking about is a government that has a very heavy load. Well, I don't know. We have over 800 schools.
Not hearing you so well, Sandy, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, I don't think that it's a question that one can't. Why can't we do it? We can do it, and we're progressing towards that. I can see that, and I can hear it in the statements that the Minister of Education has said, and I'm very heartened by that. But Franklin, an opportunity presented itself to me, and you have to say to yourself, you either go for that and try to really work it as hard as you possibly can, or you sit back and you say, well, I'm not going to bother with that because really and truly the government of Jamaica should do this for all the schools. They can't. So just let us get what we can get, do what we can do. And let me say this, because we have this one school, and it's two schools, because it's a primary and a high school, and we're going to go after having an elementary school, hopefully, but that's a different conversation, is that I am still going to, and we at Crystal House are still going to continue to lobby Crystal House International for another school to come to Jamaica. I mean, frankly, I would love to see a Crystal House school in every single parish. I'm not going to get it, but that's what I'd love. So here we are. We have one, it started, and it's becoming a great success. If we can do anything from Crystal House's side to assist the government of Jamaica in making other schools more profitable, more sustainable, children that are looked after the way we're taking care of our children, and we have to remember that a lot of what causes the success at Crystal House is the love and the care that we give to the children. It's not just get on the bus and sit down, and it is everything goes towards the fact that you are trying to teach a child you are loved, you're cared for. We want you to succeed, and we're going to do everything we possibly can for you to succeed. And you better don't hit a child at Crystal House, and you better don't abuse that child verbally. It is not allowed. So we have to try to get rid of all of that and move forward. And we can do it. We can.
Yes, Franklin. Yeah, it seems as if we do not have Franklin now. So it seems we are wrapping up this segment. And I must say thanks to both of you for not just coming here, but what you do. And I am happy that we're able to allow more Jamaicans or more people to know of the existence of this school here in Jamaica and in all over in the other parts of the world. Thank you so much for coming.
And I would also
and
love
thanks
to
for sharing
say,
with us.
Thank
and
you,
I would
Winnie.
also love to say, Winnie, I know that because
Yes.
you know because some problems at this end. But I would
Okay, I'm
love
glad
to
we can
say-
hear you.
Yes, and I'd love to say it's really a great honor that Jamaica has this particular facility. And every day that one of those 470 odd students go to that school must be seen by them as a real great opportunity to
Yes.
make better of themselves and make a better life for them. And Sally Portius, there can't be there can't be too great commendation for you on this.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. And can I invite you all to come out and visit us?
I want to come. I'm ready to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Really
would just
great.
like to pitch into Franklin just before we hop. I know you were moving to your next segment. That Jamaica, all our listeners who are on now, and you can share this with us. If just to visit crystalhousejamaica.org, and you will get the opportunity to see from a data standpoint what we're doing, meet the team prior to coming in, and then arrange to physically visit. But that link through our page would also give Jamaicans the opportunity to donate to.
Give us that handle again and
Yes.
then tell us about the donating.
Yes, please.
Right. So it
Yes,
is
please.
crystalhousejamaica.org. And once you visit,
And that's CRYSTEL.
yes, so Crystal, CHRISTELHOUSE, yes,
Yes.
Jamaica.org. That's it. And once you hop on and you visit there, you will have the opportunity on that page to also to make a donation online towards the school and become one of our donors to ensure that this Crystal House magic is sustained in our country. Because I can tell you this, for the other centers 20 plus years in existence, they are benefiting because they would have been adopted by their local community to ensure that the model continues.
Thank you so very much,
Done.
Sally Portius and Jason Scott. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for being with us today.
Yeah.
And all the best to Crystal House and
Thank you.
sponsors, supporters, students, staff, all its partners.
Thank
Thank
you
you
Thank you,
very
so
much.
much.
Franklin. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you,
you.
Desmond.
Thanks.
Okay.
Well, we were hoping to have Tanisha Stoney Dryden, the CEO of Crystal House. I'm not sure Joshua is that. Oh, yes, we have
Yes,
her.
she's here.
We
She's
have her.
here.
Okay, we have her
She's
before we
here.
go to live business. Thank you.
She's
Thank
here.
you very much. So you know what the discussion has been going on, but tell us
Yeah.
what threats, if any, would there be to continuing Crystal House? I mean, something as good as this, we don't want it to fail at all. What, in other words, let's put it the other way. What could people do to make sure and ensure that this model continues?
Good evening, Franklin. Winnie, Desmond, good evening. Happy to be here.
Good evening.
Very interesting question. I'm going to start off, Franklin, with saying when you visit the school, you will see an environment that is beautifully kept, sterile. It is a difference. It's a different environment from what the toughest and hardest and roughest communities that our children hail from. So, with that said, it's a costly venture. So, sustainability of this model depends on local buy-in, political will, all hands on deck. Those variables would lead to the model not being sustained. We are not fully funded by our international partners, so partnership locally, a all hands on deck model is important, and
Who
that is what
assists
we did
locally? What do you want to name some of the partners, some of the donors for Crystal House?
locally.
Yes.
Yes, we have first and foremost, we in our neighborhood, we have Food for the Poor. They donated over 400 plus desks and chairs for the high school that we opened August 25th and had a launch just a couple days ago. We also have governmental support. There is Statin and e-learning that gave us tablets for our children. We also have non-state actors. We have private sectors partners such as CB Fazy. We have National Bakery. Um, we have corporate Jamaica that's supporting us. We also have partners in the form of individual partners such as Joe and Tracy Matalon. We have numerous stakeholders, numerous partners, and we are grateful for all. As I said, Franklin, it's a very costly venture and can only be accomplished with all hands on deck.
No.
Before we go
Winnie,
any further, Franklin, let's take this comment. Let's take this comment from Grace McLean. Good day, everyone. Crystal House is a beautiful concept. I look forward to paying you a visit soon.
Beautiful.
Yes. Back to
Mrs.
you, Franklin.
Mrs. Garden, I wonder for you when you look around at the scene, is there any possibility that Jamaica might have, where is it going? In other words, is it possible that we might have another Crystal House locally, or you're cementing this? What's the plan?
It's early days yet. We are 5 years old in comparison to other centers globally that's doing 2+ decades. It's early days yet for that conversation. I do, however, hope, Franklin, that that's the path we take. The model of Crystal House, the wraparound services, looking at a child from a holistic point of view, having a two generational approach to alleviating poverty is something that we would welcome in other parts of Jamaica. There are several hotspots in Jamaica that would do with this model. The model in itself, as social scientists may say, is a crime prevention methodology. So we can look at parishes like Clarendon, St. James,
Yes.
Montego Bay, perhaps. So it's always a vision of the Crystal House management and or co-founder and our partners to see this model elsewhere. Of
What do
note,
you mean by the
Franklin,
two generational? I don't want to lose that. The two generational
the two
approach.
generational approach is one where we for Crystal House, we're not looking at children in silos. We also look at their parents. So the child is one generation and their parent is another. So it's a two generational approach that we're taking. A lot of our intervention is heavily focused on parental involvement and parental engagement, and we are intentional about that.
Right. Well, we thank you so much. We are impressed, and it's I'm sure that you get a lot of good feedback, and
Yes.
we have on screen on screen we just had, and we have in our comment section how people may be able to get in and see what you are doing, and we commend you, Mrs. Stony Dryden,
Yes.
and wish you the best.
Thank you. I welcome it. Wishing you and the team also, Franklin, all the very best. And yes, it's moments like these that make Jamaica a place of choice to live, grow, raise families, and do business. We
And
welcome
retire.
and retire.
It's important. If you can't retire, why would you do all those other things there?
Thank you.
To
Thank
Grace
Thank you, Mrs. Dryden.
Yes.
Mrs. Stanisha Stony Dryden, CEO of Crystal House, which we have been hearing so far.
Franklin, let's do this. Grace McLean again says, that's what I find fantastic. The two generational approach, it's needed across Jamaica.
Oh, really, thank you. Thanks again. So now we're going to move on to another part of our program. We're now celebrating Lloyd B. Smith.
Yeah.
So here is what we have, a little bit of him.
Big
Joshua,
up
are you
Lloyd
there?
B.
Yeah. Governor.
Joshua is supposed to be taking us there now at the function last week. Last
Playing that
weekend, there
clip.
was a function for him last week, Sunday. And we have a video of it to present, piece of it to present, of course. I'm not seeing,
Start telling us about it, Franklin.
Is one of Jamaica's best known and most accomplished media figures. Long-standing columnist for the Jamaica Observer. Lloyd B. Smith, Lloyd B., or the Governor, is one of Jamaica's best known and most accomplished media figures. Long-standing columnist for the Jamaica Observer and political analyst and commentator, his views are well sought after and respected. His greater contribution has been to the Western Mirror newspaper, where he has served for 45 years and is managing editor and CEO. On Sunday, October 12, 2025, his family, friends, professional colleagues, and business and civic leaders from Montego Bay celebrated with him 50 years in media and 45 at the Mirror. The recurring theme was how almost every journalist out of Montego Bay experienced his tutorship or owed him for a bus. More importantly, Lloyd B. Smith was hailed for his integrity and his humility. Janet Silvera was the main mover behind the event, attended by Lloyd B.'s daughter, Saroya, Custos of St. James, Conrad Pitkin, Mayor Richard Vernon, and a host of journalists and media representatives. Barrington Fleming from the Mirror's editorial department was gallant in his reply on behalf of the team.
Who else is there? I can't see the.
Oh my God. Richard.
Mr. Mays over there who handles our finances. And who is behind there?
Don't worry.
Carol,
We're going to
listen.
take a photograph
Suppose I tell you something, Janet.
Yes.
Practically, and I'm showing off again because Adrian said it already, but practically every journalist in this room, whether they are at any other news entity, they all started at the Mirror.
Except for me.
I am their grandfather.
Except for me.
Except for you. You were... you hard to tame. I couldn't have tamed you.
Lord, give me strength. You have really trained a lot, and you have influenced generations of journalists. What qualities do you believe define good journalism, though, in 2025? Because it is a period that we're going through where many of us are being criticized for the kind of work we're doing.
Well, as I had mentioned the word integrity before, journalists are not the best paid anywhere in the world, for that matter. And it's the same case here in Jamaica. And so there's always a temptation for journalists to allow themselves to be bribed or intimidated. And one of the things I always say to my staff, it doesn't make sense you sell your soul for a mess of pottage. It will come back to haunt you. And so your integrity is what matters most as a journalist. You must be fearless, you must be objective. I take pride in the fact, and Godfrey and Winston is here. One of the things that over the years some people don't understand, Senator Bernard is here, I'm young, him just coming at the business. But I have always had very good relations with both the PMP and the JLP, not true? As a journalist.
Oma is here and Vernon is here.
Yeah, they cost me some time, Not true, Mr. Up to the mayor must him cost me. I don't think he does it public, but when he's having his show, I'm saying, see that boy LLOYD, be going to deal with him. But you have to carve out a professional image where you can be trusted, you can be respected, and once you achieve that stature, then whatever you write or say, even if the persons out there don't like it, they're going to have to accept it because it is coming from a credible source.
That's our show for this week. Winnie, you have a comment on that, and Desmond, as we finish off here. We have 2 seconds, Winnie.
No,
Well,
no, man, we know LLOYD be a lion-hearted journalist, man. We know that. LLOYD be is an incredible journalist and one that, we should look to.
Solid.
well,
Winnie?
well, I say from a teaching background, he couldn't do any better. Good teachers make great journalists.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I had some comments, but the time is running out on us, and we're going to give you a little piece more of LLOYD next week. But I just wanted to say that this week just passed was not a good one for governance. The Integrity Commission had published through the Parliament a report indicating that less than the best practices were involved in granting nearly $80 million worth of contract by the Health Ministry. We expected that the Health Minister would have gone to Parliament and made some comments about that and explained to the people of Jamaica about that. It did not happen. I'm not going to be able to pull the full comments that I wish that at this point, but I'd love Minister Tufton to understand that he has used up a lot of goodwill so far. Even the Prime Minister has not said it to him. He has used up a lot of goodwill so far. And to respond to the opposition spokesperson by saying, election done, was not to be charitable, I should say. That was not the best response. But that's our show for today. We thank you all for joining us for this edition of the Frankly Speaking Show. Thanks again to Desmond Richards, Winnie Anderson Brown, and to you, our listeners and viewers. Thanks to Joshua Black, our technical operator and graphic artist. Remember, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And please share the podcast with family and colleagues. Remember, the same link for this live will take you to the program on the Frankly Speaking Jamaica YouTube channel at your convenience. On behalf of all of us, I'm Frankly McKnight. Until then.
It happened on the We did it.